I have to find out where to find this recording. But it is recording. If it is recording, it's okay. It will be stored somewhere. The problem is that before it was not recording, and it did not allow me to record. So, okay, wait a minute, because it's trying. We should get some notification. A woman said, no, it's being recorded. Great. Okay. Brenda is here. Great. Okay, so I'm going to share screen. Okay. Okay, ready, steady, go. All right. I'd like to go over one essay on gender identity. All right. I will be using this essay that somebody wrote on gender identity. What I did was to rewrite it a little bit, to change some things. But the essay was well written, and I created some mistakes, all right, on purpose, so that we analyze these mistakes. Since the essay was very well organized, I said, okay, I take advantage of this to show you how to go about writing, you know, the structure of the paragraph. And then I created not mistakes. The language is okay, but the problem is that it's not academic writing because it's not formal enough. We said that we need to use formal language in academic writing, okay? And so we said that we need to use certain formal linguistic resources, or formal linguistic constructions, because academic writing needs to be objective, all right? So what do we mean by objectivity? Okay, let me read this out. The goal of academic writing is to present and evaluate academic issues and to arrive at a position informed by research, not to present one's personal biases or preferences. For this reason, personal pronouns, especially I, you, and we, are often avoided. I'm not saying that we should always avoid we or I, right? But generally speaking, they are avoided. We should try to do away with this, your personal opinion. All right, you may give your opinion, remember, in an argumentative essay, directly at the very end of the argumentative essay, but not in the introductory paragraph and not in the body paragraphs. Okay? So the idea is to do away with personal pronouns. So, however, adding I does not mean you should merely report information. Your own evaluation of the material is extremely important and can be made objective by the use of evidence or logical argumentation. No? You need to provide logical argumentation, supporting ideas, factual information, and pieces of evidence in a way that support your argument or your viewpoint, all right? So, structures that help to establish an objective distance, because the writer is distancing himself from what is being said in the text, all right, include the use of passive constructions. So we can use passive. Wait a minute, because I will be using colors. So we can use passive constructions, passive verbs. We can use the topic, mention the topic as subject. Instead of saying I or we or people, right, you may talk about, mention the topic. So teaching English to foreign language students, or teaching English to second language students. Do you follow me? That would be the topic. Then you may also use anticipatory it as an expletive. You know that anticipatory it constructions or anticipatory their constructions, all right? Both of them are formal instances of linguistic resources. So let's take a look at this. Let's compare, all right? If I say you can demonstrate that global warming is a real phenomenon by studying changes in Antarctic ice layers, this sounds informal and subjective. Why? Why does it sound subjective? Who can tell me? I'm pretty informal, by the way.
Because there is not a citation. You can prove that who said it is my opinion. It's
yes. All right.
It's
because you are using you.
Yes, we are using you here. I'm addressing the reader directly. right? You, I'm talking to the reader. This is something that is generally done in spoken discourse, right? So we are using personal pronouns here to begin with. So we can make it less subjective and less informal by mentioning the topic as subject. Which is the topic? Changes in Antarctic ice layers demonstrate that global warming is a real phenomenon. You see, the topic, these changes demonstrate. We are personifying the topic. This abstract entity that we changes in Antarctic ice layers demonstrate something or show something. Instead of saying, I show this to you. Do you follow me? And that is what is expected in academic writing. Or if not, I can use a passive construction, such as the following one. The use of passive verbs. The reality of global warming can be demonstrated by the studying changes in Antarctic ice layers. Instead of saying, you can demonstrate, you see, you can demonstrate changes in Antarctic ice layers. Sorry, you can demonstrate the reality of global warming by studying changes in Antarctic ice layers. You do away with the personal pronoun there, and you use a passive construction instead of using active voice. Clear? So, let me continue now. Objectivity can also be accomplished by the use of nominalizations. I think we have already talked about we talked about this in the first part of the year. All right, what is a nominalization? Let's take a look at the following examples. It is often possible to use a noun group instead of one or more verb or adjective groups. The idea is that verbal phrases, all right, are turned into noun phrases. Okay, that is what we mean. That is what we mean by nominalization. Take a look at the first example. The boys laughed loudly and woke up the baby. So in this case, we've got two actions, don't we? They laughed and they woke up the baby. But these are two verbs, two action verbs. Now, this sentence consists of two actions, one causing the other one. All right, as a consequence of the boy's laughter, the baby was woken up, right? So how can I turn that into a nominalized construction? I can say the boy's laughter, loud laughter woke up the baby. So what am I doing? I am turning the verb into a noun. The verb laugh into the noun laughter. All right? So that is the idea of a nominalization. Verbs are turned into nominal constructions, noun phrases. And noun phrases and nominal constructions are, in a way, formal. All right? They are much more formal than saying, we think. Do you follow me? So why use nominalizations? It says we can use nominalizations for several reasons. It was, for example, I wasn't very well, so I had to stay at home. In this case, I wasn't very well and I had to stay at home. There aren't any nominalizations there. I've got two ideas with two verbal constructions, right, each. But now I can make it more formal by saying my poor health. So what am I doing? I wasn't very well has been nominalized into a noun phrase, a nominal construction, making it more formal. This is not the way we speak. This is the way we write. Now, in spoken discourse, you would not say my poor health meant I had to stay at home. In spoken discourse, but you would in written discourse, right? Is this clear? And the first sentence has two parts linked by so, all right? Both parts are equally important. In the nominalized version, the action, stay at home, is the focus of the sentence. In this last part, if you take a look at the nominalized construction, my poor health meant I had to stay at home. This is the information that is being highlighted here, the information that is being foregrounded. Remember that I said to you that whenever you want to bring information into focus, this piece of information should be placed at the end of the sentence, should not be placed in initial position. All right? Whatever is found in initial position is old information. No? Old information is placed in subject position. New information is placed in the predicate at the end of the sentence. Right? So remember what I said. And that has to do, you decide as a writer if you want to background information, no? Background information, that is to say, to include it as background to make it old, or if you want to foreground information, you want to give focus, all right, or bring this piece of information into focus. And that's your own choice. And so there you're working, you will be playing with what? With word order. Sometimes, I mean, despite that, no, you may begin by saying, despite blah, 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 this, something happened. Or you may say something happened despite something else. Do you follow me? But then there you need to pay attention to what is it that you want to highlight. Now, what piece of information do you want to highlight? The one in the subordinating clause or the one in the main clause? And so the position of these two ideas, all right, I mean, will determine that. So let's take a look at the following group, the following sentence. Because a lot of information can be packed, no? This is what we're doing. We're packing information in a nominal construction, in a nominalization. We are packing information because the idea is that you have a noun and many what? Many pre-modifiers used attributively before the noun. You follow me? That's why you are packing information. And that's why this is a feature of written discourse, because if not, people cannot retain, no? When you speak, it's very difficult to follow. These constructions are very loaded with lexical items. They are wordy, right? So, can be packed into a noun group. It can make sentences shorter and leave the rest of the sentence free to add any new information. So let me read this one. In spoken discourse, we would say, he had an insatiable appetite for adventure, and because of this, he became involved in a pioneering expedition to Antarctica. So we have two actions, right? We have a doer of the action, all right? And this doer performed two actions. Now, let's turn these two actions into abstract entities. Do you follow me? This is what you're doing. You move from an action, you turn an action into an abstract entity, an abstract idea. And you show the logical connection between these two ideas through a linking verb, expressing what? Cause and effect, or through a linker, expressing concession or addition, all right? Or whatever, and so on and so forth. So, his insatiable appetite for adventure, you see, his insatiable appetite for adventure. Instead of saying he had an insatiable appetite for adventure, you see, we do away with he. The doer of the action is not mentioned. The head noun would be what? Appetite. No, that would be the head noun here. It is pre-modified by his insatiable, and it is post-modified by for adventure, led to his improvement, and this is the head noun in the second construction, in a pioneering expedition to Antarctica. And the linking verb is led to. So here I'm establishing a what? A relation of, a logical relation of cause and effect. The first sentence It expresses the cause, and the second sentence expresses the effect. Clear? Right? So this is what is expected in academic writing, in argumentative essay writing, not to use verbal constructions, all right, but to go for
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Me neither. Cannot hear anything.
She's frozen.
Yes. I can see the new
It
slide.
must be the connection.
I can see the new slide, but not the. I can see.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Yes, but I lost you on the computer. I am on the iPad. I am just on the iPad. Let me see. I will try to reconnect, because if not, I don't know if we are recording.
It says recording.
Is it recording?
I think it would. Yes, I can see the word grabando in
Ah,
red.
yes, me too. I can still see it. All right, so it doesn't matter. So if it is recording, great. I can continue, because in anyway, to me, it's exactly the same. I'm sharing screen. I continue sharing screen, okay? So, can you see a screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Now, yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you see my
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah.
We could, now we can't. Again.
No. Now? Okay, let me show this to you. Now, can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to switch off just, wait a minute, because I have too many things on. All right, so here we go. Good. Great, perfect. Okay, so, okay, another structure that can make writing some more objective and more formal, as I said before, is the use of it. All right, anticipatory it. This one, anticipatory it or anticipatory there. For example, we can use it in constructions like it can be argued, no? It can be argued, it can be demonstrated. Is somebody joining in? Ah, yes, there's someone joining in. Okay, great. So it can be argued or it can be. All right. It can be argued or it can be demonstrated that, or it is evident, it is logical, it is plausible, it is conceivable that. All right? So I am using this anticipatory. And the anticipatory it, now we're going to see in a minute, is anticipating what comes, what appears in the that clause at the very end. We're going to see that anticipatory it may anticipate not only a noun clause, a that noun clause, but also an infinitival clause, a gerundial clause. All right, we're going to see this in a minute. So, for example, it is thought that many people have been injured. No? This it is anticipating that many people have been injured. Is thought. All right. Or, for example, I can say it appears that he's been promoted. So this it here is anticipating that he's been promoted. Appears. All right. Or I can say it would seem, right, that someone left the door unlocked. So that someone left the door unlocked seems to be. Do you follow? All right. So generally speaking, these are frequent phrases. These phrases are very frequent in academic writing. So as I said before, we can use anticipatory it or we can use anticipatory there. Now, each of them anticipate different grammatical constructions, okay? Anticipatory it may anticipate an infinitival clause. Now, I'm going to use the same color. An infinitival clause, a noun clause, or a gerundial clause. All right? This is what it can anticipate. Anticipatory there, on the other hand, can anticipate a noun phrase or a pronominal phrase. It can also anticipate a gerundial clause. So be careful because what I found in some of the essays that I corrected, that you're using anticipatory it wrongly. You're anticipating a noun phrase. And it can never anticipate a noun phrase. For example, I'm just giving you a silly example. I don't know, this is not what you've written, but it's, for example, it's nobody outside. In this case, can you see? Which would be the word that is being anticipated here? Nobody. And nobody would be a noun phrase. You see? A noun phrase. So it cannot anticipate a noun phrase. So this is wrong, and the right one would be there's nobody there. There's nobody outside. You see? Okay, so now let's take a look at some examples, and we're going to classify them according to, what type of construction the it or the there is anticipating. Don't worry, because I'm making it larger now. Okay, Andre, I can see you squinting at the text. Don't worry, because me too, I have to wear my glasses. All right, here we go. Let me, wait a minute. Okay, so can you see that we've got the categories there, it and there, and the number of sentences, right? So what about the first one? It was interesting to deliver my talk in front of so many people. I'm inventing the very end of it. So come on, what would that be? To deliver my talk in front of so many people. What is anticipating?
Infinitival clause.
An infinitival clause, exactly. So that would be sentence number 1 with it, right? There. Good. It is no good hoping for fortune. It is no good hoping for fortune. So what is this it anticipating here?
Gerundial clause.
Hoping for fortune is no good. No, this would be the real subject in extra position. This is what we call it in grammar. No, the real subject in extra position. So this would be a gerundial clause. So number 2 goes here. What about next one? There's nobody outside. This is the example that there's nobody. And here we're the anticipatory, the expletive, we're anticipating through the expletive there. So there's nobody outside. What am I anticipating? No. Exactly. So I have to go here. This would be number 3 here. No? A noun phrase with there. There are plenty of serious mistakes in this essay. There are plenty of serious mistakes in this essay. So what is there anticipating?
Noun phrase.
A noun phrase. Plenty of serious mistakes are in this essay. Okay, so this is number 4 again. There should be no problems with the money. There should be no problem with the money. So what is there anticipating?
Noun phrase again.
A noun phrase again. No problems should be with the money. Right? Good. Let's move on to the next one. It was nice to see her at the party.
Infinitival clause.
It is anticipating an infinitival clause. To see her at the party was nice. No, this is number 6 here. It was sad that you couldn't participate. It was sad that you couldn't participate. So what is the it anticipating?
That clause, but
It's that noun clause, exactly. That you couldn't participate was sad. So this is 7 here. Noun clause. A noun clause, not a noun phrase. Noun clause
Where
is
is the
contain
noun?
verb.
What is the noun?
No. It's not a noun. It's not a noun phrase. It's a noun clause that you couldn't participate. All right. Don't get confused. Noun clauses are not the same as noun phrases. What's the difference between a noun clause and a noun phrase?
A noun
a
phrase.
clause has a conjugated verb. It has more elements.
Yes, a clause should have a subject, a verb, and a complement. That is, all right. And then, well, noun clauses generally are preceded by that noun clause or WH that clause, noun clauses, all right? You have different types of noun clauses, right? But noun clauses contain the subordinating conjunction plus the subject plus the verb plus the complement, right? Noun phrases, on the other hand, contain a head as a noun. They can be pre-modified and post-modified, right? What about the next one? It was very unfortunate that unemployment kept increasing. So it was very unfortunate that unemployment kept increasing.
It is also a noun clause.
It is also a noun clause, exactly, here, no? All right, it was a mystery how the keys disappeared. So it, what is it anticipated here?
How the key disappears.
How the keys disappeared was a mystery, exactly. And what would that be?
It is also a noun clause.
It is also a noun clause, exactly. Very good. Is it possible that I saw you at the market last Sunday? So what is this it anticipating?
That I saw you at the market.
I saw you at the market last Sunday. This is number 10. Again, another noun clause.
Yes.
It would be very disappointing if I happen to find out something. It would be very disappointing if I happen to find out something. What would that be?
A gerundial clause.
Where can you see the gerund there? It would be very disappointing, no? If I happen to find out something. Which would be the subject, the real subject in next preposition here?
Noun phrase, because I happen to find.
But that's not a noun phrase, Mariana. That is a noun clause.
A noun clause, sorry.
If I happen to find out something would be very disappointing. Right?
Yes.
That's a noun clause.
Yes.
Can there possibly be life on the planet? Can there possibly, so here I've got there, no? What is there anticipating?
Be life on the planet.
No. It only anticipates a noun phrase. So what is there?
Life on the planet.
Life. Can life be on the planet? Yeah. Not life on the planet. On the planet is part of a predicate.
Okay.
Life is the real subject in extra position here, right? So that would be number 12 here. They are anticipating a noun phrase. Next one. It's no use trying to force him.
Trying to force him.
Okay, what would that be? What is the it anticipating then?
This is a gerundial clause.
Gerundial clause, exactly here. It would be advisable to obey the king. It would be advisable to obey the king.
Infinitival clause.
An infinitival clause, exactly. No? So we go here, number 14. Okay, next. It's rude to stare at people. It's rude to stare at people.
Again,
no? Another infinitival clause. It's a fact that he jumped a red light. it's a fact that he jumped a red light.
It's a noun clause.
The noun clause.
Noun clause, exactly. We read it here. No, a noun clause. It's no good wasting so much money on that. It's no good wasting so much money on that.
Gerundial clause.
A gerundial clause, exactly. That would be 17 here. It's pointless going on like that. It's pointless going on like that.
The same.
The same, another gerundial clause, all right? Next. It's doubtful whether he will be successful. It's doubtful whether he will be successful.
We can't see the slide. Yes.
You cannot see it? Wait a minute.
Yes,
No,
no, we
yes,
can. Yes.
All right. So it's doubtful whether he will be successful.
It's also a noun clause.
A noun clause. Whether he will be successful is doubtful, right? This is 19. And I continue here. There are too many people outside. There are too many people outside.
A noun phrase.
Yes.
Too many people.
Too many people are outside. No, that is the real subject in extra position. This is 20 here. There's no use trying to hide your problems. There's no use trying to hide your problems.
Gerundial clause.
A gerundial clause. Trying to hide your problems is no use. So here, a gerundial can also be anticipatory there. No, the expletive there can also anticipate a gerundial clause in the same way as anticipatory it. It was unbelievable that she came up with such a proposal.
Noun clause.
Noun clause, exactly. This is 22, a noun clause. All right, and the last one, it doesn't matter when the decision is arrived at. It doesn't matter when the decision is arrived at.
Also noun clause.
When the decision is arrived at, doesn't matter. Exactly. All right, clear? So now.
Yes.
There is one more.
Any questions on this?
I think there is one more sentence. It's
the last one. It's uncertain. It's uncertain whether he will win the tournament that easily. So what was that? Another noun clause, exactly. That's another noun clause. Okay, so now we're going to analyze and try to correct. This is an essay that has been written by one of you. I want to remove this. All right, and the idea is, I invented some. I make it more informal. Okay, I made it more informal, and I'd like you to try to put into practice everything we've seen, to try to use formal constructions of the language. So as I said before, we can use anticipatory constructions, anticipatory there constructions. We can use nominalizations. We can mention the abstract entity, no, the abstract idea, the topic, without mentioning what? Personal pronouns, in order to avoid the use of personal pronouns. Or we can use passive voice. These are all the linguistic resources that we need to use. Or sometimes we may also use gerundial clauses. Why gerundial clauses in subject position? Because gerunds behave grammatically and syntactically in the same way as nouns. All right, if I say smoking is hazardous to your health, I can translate that into Spanish as el fumar es perjudicial para la salud, or el cigarrillo es perjudicial para la salud. Do you follow? So, gerundial phrases behave syntactically in the same way as noun phrases. That's why they can also be used in academic writing, in subject position. Clear? So let me read this essay on gender-inclusive language. So language is a powerful instrument. It shapes not only our culture, but also our vision of it. Therefore, the way we think of gender is shaped by language. The use of gendered language or of gender-neutral language, also known as gender-inclusive or gender-free language, reflects society's beliefs on this topic. Language should be more gender inclusive, since this is an evolved form of accepting diversity, as it prevents gender bias, it respects men and women and non-binary people, and it is a means of avoiding misgendering. What's the problem here? I've got these, look at this, no? I've got this, it, too many pronouns. Too many pronouns, and then the reader loses track of what the subject, the real subject was. What is the real referent of that? That is in your head because you are writing. The writer knows very well. The reader, will get lost after reading so many it's. All right? So, come on. How can you, and apart from that, we are using verbs. It prevents, respects, right? So, can we make this more formal by avoiding the use of so many pronouns? So, language should be more gender inclusive, since and now try to put into practice what we've seen before. The idea of nominalizations, for example. How would you nominalize these verbal constructions? The first one, I mean.
Instead of saying accepting, we can say the acceptance.
Exactly. Okay, Andrea, very good. So you have chosen two ways in which you can actually make it more formal. One way is to use a nominalization, such as the acceptance.
The acceptance of diversity.
So the acceptance of diversity. And I do away with all this, right? I do away with this. The acceptance of diversity, what? Prevents gender bias, respects men and women and non-binary people, and keep the same parallel construction. Remember, you need to stick
avoid.
Be careful with grammar there.
Avoid misgendering.
Be careful with grammar, Andrea. Which is the subject?
The acceptance diversity.
The acceptance of diversity.
Misgendering.
So avoids.
Avoids.
Okay.
Parallel structure, respects, avoid.
Exactly. That is what is expected, to keep structural parallelism. All right. So you need to keep the same pattern, the same structural pattern or syntactic pattern that you started with. All right. So the acceptance of diversity prevents gender bias, respects men and women and non-binary people, and avoids misgendering. It's much easier to understand, isn't it? Isn't it much more straightforward than saying this is an evolved form of accepting reality as it prevents gender bias, it respects men and women and non-binary people, and it is a means of avoiding misgender? Too wordy and too many pronouns. Too many pronouns whose referent is far-fetched. Clear? There's another way. Instead of using a nominal construction, a nominalization such as this one, the acceptance of diversity, I can very well use what you said, Andrea. Which is the other construction we can use, which in a way is similar to a nominal construction? Or anybody, I'm just saying. Come on.
Could it be something like using this kind of language prevents gender bias, respect men, women, and non-binary people, and avoids misgendering?
Exactly, using, right. Or if not, so as not to change, but we correct as teachers, we try to avoid, overcorrecting. So I would try to use the same words the writer has chosen. So I would say accepting diversity, a gerundial clause, no? Accepting diversity prevents gender bias, respects, right, women and men and non-binary people, and avoids misgendering. So you can use two types of constructions. On the one hand, you can use a nominal construction. On the other hand, you can use a gerundial clause. Both of them are formal constructions used in academic writing. Right?
Yeah.
Clear? Let's move on to the next one. To begin with, and by the way, the essay is in favor of gender, right? The writer is in favor of gender inclusive language, all right? And of accepting diversity. So to begin with, people use gender neutral language because it counters gender bias. Okay, again, people. Okay, you're not really being very specific when you say people, right? So people, I would do away with people because, I mean, if people do not choose gender neutral language, who would? Animals. Do you follow me? Creatures. So is it really? Yeah, so I would do away with people.
You can say
Human being.
You can say gender neutral speakers. And in that way, you will be specific of the people who speak.
All right, you will be more specific, perhaps. Or if not, how would you turn this into a nominal construction? People use. So try to turn the verb into a noun.
User.
The use of.
Exactly. That's it. So the use of what? The
gender
use
neutral
of
language.
Gender neutral language counters gender bias. And that's it. And you avoid saying, because, I mean, if you were speaking, is that, if I were giving a lecture or a speech, you know, I would say, well, today in this society, you know, people generally use when I speak, but I'm not speaking here. All right, I'm writing. And academic writing has to do with formal writing. So the use of gender neutral language counters gender bias. All right, clear? So now let's analyze this paragraph. Let's take advantage, because it's very well written, by the way. So let's take advantage of it. Which would be the topic in this? This is the topic sentence, isn't it? Now, we said that the topic sentence is made up of the topic and the controlling idea, which contains the writer's stance, or the writer's argument, all right? So which is the topic here?
The use of gender neutral language.
Exactly. This could be the topic. And the topic, by the way, should refer back to the topic of the essay, right? To the topic that was stated in the introductory paragraph. So you should bear in mind that every time you write a topic sentence, the topic you mention should refer back to the, I mean, will basically be the same, because it will always refer back to or be related, no? And closely related or closely connected with the topic of the essay. Clear? So the use of gender neutral language here, and which is the writer's viewpoint? Which is the writer's argument here?
That it counters gender bias.
That it counters gender bias. So this is what? This is the argument. This is the claim the writer is making. The claim, the argument, the stance the writer is taking. And now, what do I expect to read? Why? All right, the why. You have to explain to me why. You have to provide evidence to explain to me why the use of gender neutral language counters gender bias. All right? Now, we said that to provide explanations, we may actually come up with our own ideas or evidence from other texts, in which case we need to paraphrase other scholars or quote other scholars. All right? And we can also provide examples through illustrations. So let's take a look at this. As speakers of the language, we are exposed to stereotypical phrases that encourage sexism, such as, you throw like a girl, or boys don't cry. As stated by Professor Rick Bales, gendered language risks offending readers of both sexes, particularly when the language is based on stereotypical assumptions. In other words, the reflection of gender stereotypes in language might be considered disrespectful by people of all genders, male, female, and non-binary. Instead, the use of gender-neutral language is a skillful practice to avoid sexism. So, how is the writer supporting this argument or this claim? No?
With the quotes and examples.
Yeah, first of all, examples. Okay, the writer here is giving some examples. So I'm going to underline this. Now, these would be the examples. The examples, by the way, these phrases, because they are examples, they have been, so typical sentences that people say or ideas that people express have been written in italics. And then with a quote, no? We know that this is a quotation because we are including the page number, all right, the year of publication, column, the page number, and we are opening quotation marks. The writer has not included the whole quotation. How do we know that the writer has not included the whole quotation here and has cut off the quotation?
Because there are 3 dots.
There's ellipses.
Because you put ellipses in the middle, all right? Remember, so this means that some parts of the text have been elided, all right? Have been removed.
Veronica, since we have to pay attention to everything, regarding punctuation, there should be a comma before opening quotation marks, right?
Yes, exactly. Here there should be a comma.
And the period should be inside the quotation mark?
No, yes, I was going to correct that. Yes.
Okay.
This is wrong. This should be here inside the quotation mark.
Okay.
Quotation mark, inside the quotation mark. Good, very good.
Should it always be inside the quotation mark? It doesn't depend whether the full stop is in the quotation or not?
Yes. Okay. Very good question.
Also with the parentheses, right? Because in Spanish it's different, right? I always confuse because for us, I think in English
I do not know about
not natural.
I
know, but
I write in English. I speak in English all the time. My Spanish is so bad. I cannot tell you anything.
I remember that in English, the period goes inside the parentheses, and in Spanish goes outside.
Yes.
But well, let's forget about
Spanish. What I want you to say, and Brenda, what you were saying is the following. Let's suppose that we say Professor Frederick Bales, no? And that is not, we do not mention the professor. Let's imagine that we're not mentioning the professor, but we're saying this, no? We do away with this, and we say, we open inverted commas and we say gender, language, risk, offending, blah, 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 blah. And then assumptions, and there you close inverted commas, and here you write Bales, comma, 2002 dot, column, 40, then you close, parentheses, and the full stop there at the very end. You see?
Okay.
In that case, the full stop would be at the very end if you mention the citation at the very end. But if the citation is at the very beginning, then the full stop should be within the quotation marks. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
In my essay, you wrote provide page, but I don't have a page because it is retrieved from internet.
You have taken it from the internet?
Yes.
But it's, I mean, even, no, in that case, you don't provide a page. No. But then you should, today we're going to see, okay, but today we're going to see how to cite references from the internet, right? So you need to include those references anyway, okay? You won't be including a page number, that's all right. But the year of publication should be included. You see? Did you include the year of publication, Mariana? Okay, then that's all right. But the problem is, how do I get to know? Because that should be properly cited at the very end of the essay. So if I read at the very end of the essay that has been taken from the web page because your citation will indicate that, I won't be correcting that. That's okay. You don't have a page number.
I paste the link there.
Yes, but you have to write the link appropriately. It's not just copying and pasting the link. Now we're going to see how to go about that, Mariana, but hold on, because if not, we are getting distracted. Okay, hold on. Once we finish this, we'll focus on quoting and summarizing and paraphrasing one more time, okay? Is this clear, people? So it's important to see that this professor says, right? This professor says then that gender language risks offending readers of both sexes, particularly when the language is based on stereotypical assumptions. In other words, and this is interesting because the writer is elaborating on this and explaining this in his own words. This is what is expected. That once you introduce a quotation, you need to explain and analyze the quotation and show the connection between the quotation and your claim. Clear? So, in other words, the reflection of gender stereotypes in language might be considered disrespectful by people of all genders, male, female, and non-binary. Instead, the use of gender-neutral language is a skillful practice to avoid sexism. Right? So it's very well done. This paragraph contains everything. The topic sentence, a clear topic sentence with a clear, claim or argument. Then it is supported, this argument is unpacked, all right? Unpacked, what do I mean by unpacked? Developed, all right, or supported or backed up by what? An example, 2 examples that are given here, and by evidence from other sources, from an external source. And then this evidence is explained by the writer in his own words.
I'm sorry, it's okay to write the example in italics?
Yes, that's all right. It's okay.
Is it a good practice, do you think?
Only if these are phrases that are said by people. That's why you write that in italics. If you were given an example, like when you play football, for example, when you play football, you generally hear people, I don't know, people cursing, you wouldn't be writing that in italics, right? Okay, this is in italics because this is what people say. Okay. It's verbatim speech. This is what we call verbatim speech. It's what actual speech, I mean, what people would say. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next paragraph. That was the first argument, right? In favor of gender-inclusive language. Now let's move on to the next one. Secondly, people use gender-neutral language because it recognizes every gender. Again, people use gender, right? So come on, how can you improve on this one?
Could also be the use of gender-neutral language recognizes every gender.
The use of gender-neutral language recognizes every gender. Okay, as clear as that, as easy as that. And this is the topic, all right, which refers back to the topic of the essay, and which would be the claim or the argument that it recognizes every gender. And now I'm going to explain why, okay, does the use of gender-inclusive language recognize every gender? Nowadays, it is accepted. Can you see here the anticipatory it construction? Instead of people accept, or people argue, or people claim, you say it is accepted that, followed by a that noun clause. It is accepted that gender is not defined by birth. Moreover, no, it is accepted that. It is accepted that. I would have changed the lexical item here so as to avoid repetition, unless you want to be persuasive. Repetition is good if it has a purpose, but if it doesn't have any purpose, then try to do away with it. I believe that here repetition doesn't have any purpose. So I would have said it is accepted that gender is not defined by, or it is argued, I don't know, whatever, and then it is accepted that gender is not binary. According to Jacobs, and here now the writer is quoting, comma, no? The use of gender-inclusive language contrasts with gender-exclusive language, in which words referring to one sex are used generically to refer to both sexes. When we use the generic pronoun he and the generic noun men, we are using exclusive language terms that we use as umbrella terms to encompass all genders by using words referring to the male gender. It's a little bit twisted, isn't it? It's too wordy. Too wordy. And the writer is repeating himself. It's repeating himself. This is the way we speak in Spanish. We repeat ourselves many times. We beat about the bush. We say things over and over and over and over. In English, we get straight to the point, right? You have to express ideas in a more straightforward manner. That makes it clear. So clarity is a must in English. So come on. How would you do away when we use, of course, people use language, right? Not animals. So instead of saying that, what can you say? When we use the generic pronoun he and the generic noun men, we are using exclusive language terms that we use as umbrella terms to encompass all genders by using words referring to the male gender.
And you can start saying the general use of the pronoun. No? Or not? Like the generic use of the pronoun he and the noun men.
And the generic noun men.
Means that, or I don't know.
I would say something like this. Look, the generic pronoun he, and he, by the way, in italics, right? So as to highlight that. So the generic pronoun he and the generic noun men, and men also in italics, so as to highlight that, are what? Instances of exclusive language terms, or are exclusive language terms, right? That we use now. That are used, passive construction, you see, that are used as umbrella terms to encompass all genders. And that's it.
And that's it.
Because I mean, the last part of the sentence is repetitive, isn't it? I'm saying it. I'm repeating the idea. I'm repeating myself. The writer is repeating himself.
No,
you could also
can you repeat it?
Use us without the that are, right?
Where?
Exclusive language terms used as umbrella terms.
Exactly. Yes, of course.
Contact clause.
Umbrella terms. Yes, it's a reduced relative clause. That would be a reduced relative clause. You can make it explicit or you can make it implicit. Yeah, perfect.
I don't understand what you have written in after generic noun. Men,
the generic noun he but in italics. You have to write it in italics. It's an example.
And then, and
the generic noun men in italics. Men.
In italics, okay.
Are exclusive language terms used as umbrella terms to encompass all genders. On the other hand, the use of gender-inclusive language, you see here the use of, no? Here it's okay. That's a nominalization, a nominal construction. The use of gender-inclusive language, such as their or humans in italics, regards every gender as equally important. Clear? By the way, it's interesting to see that the writer has taken up the ideas expressed in the quotation, right? Because in the quotation, we can see, I'm going to use that one. In the quotation here, we can see, according to Jacobs, and Jacobs talks about the use of gender-inclusive language, you see, and the use of gender-exclusive language. And the writer, when the writer tries to analyze these, provides further insights by talking about the same thing, exclusive language here and gender-inclusive language here, and provides examples of each. And these examples demonstrate that what? The use of gender-neutral language recognizes every gender. It's very well done, isn't it?
Mm.
Clear?
Yes.
Good. Okay, let's take a look at the next one now. Okay. Thirdly, now this is the fourth paragraph. When we use gender-neutral language, we avoid misgendering others. Well, now you know already how to go about doing this. Come on. So,
the use of gender-neutral language.
yes, the use of or, so as not to repeat the same thing, the use of avoids, no? Avoids misgendering others. Or if not, can you think of any other type of construction?
Misgendering is avoided by using gender-neutral language.
Okay, and you're right. That's okay. But would that be, in that case, what are you giving emphasis to? What are you giving prominence to?
What goes at the end? Exactly.
And here I believe that the writer wants to give prominence to what? To misgendering. Because it's going to develop the idea of misgendering rather than the use of neutral. You see? That's why I say, no? I mean, first you need to decide and you need to think, what do I want to give prominence to? No? What is the idea that I want to foreground? And what is the idea that I want to background? And then you may alter the word order or not. Clear? In some of your essays, when I write word order, I write like this, word order, it has to do with that. That sometimes the information, I don't know, it would be better to change, to alter the way in which the ideas have been placed. Okay? So let's see. The use of gender-neutral language avoids misgendering others. As mentioned above, it is accepted, well, again, not the anticipatory construction, but there is too much repetition of it, not the same phrase. It is accepted that gender is not binary. However, we tend to consider people male or female on the basis of their names or physical appearance, thus eventually disrespecting their gender identity. Well, instead of saying we tend to consider people, get there, no? We've got this we now. Try to avoid using personal pronouns. So we tend to consider people male or female. That's the way you would say something out loud in a speech, but not in
the tendency. Can we use a noun? The tendency.
Yes. Okay. But then, if you say the tendency, there's a problem with the second part of the sentence. The tendency to consider people male or female on the basis of, no, there is no birth. You see?
There is a
There is a tendency.
Exactly, there. So we can use anticipatory there, no? So there is a tendency, that's great. So we can say, there's a tendency, there's no contractions. I'm using contractions here just for the sake of space, all right? But so there's a tendency to, so I do away with this, no? There's a tendency to, there's a tendency to consider people male or female on the basis of their names or physical appearance, thus eventually disrespecting their gender identity. Now, in many of your compositions, and I take advantage of this, I can see the use of this dangling participle here, disrespecting their gender identity, without using thus. I can read something like this. There's a tendency to consider people male or female on the basis of their names or physical appearance, disrespecting their gender identity. And there's no link between an idea and the other one. And that is called a dangling participle. And that comes from Spanish, people. That comes from Spanish. So what is missing there? Thus, consequently, you are disrespecting their gender identity. You follow me? As a consequence of what was mentioned before. So this thus there, the linking, the linker of effect there must be inserted. And not therefore, by the way, because therefore cannot be followed by a gerundial phrase. All right? It is thus. So some of you wrote there. So, comma, thus, eventually disrespecting their gender identity. Clear? Let's keep on. McNally, and here the page number is missing, right? Because there's a quotation, but there's no page number. So
sorry.
Yes.
A comma before thus?
Yes.
Okay.
Before thus.
It's in red, sorry. It's very light red, sorry.
Yes, it is there. Appearance, comma, thus, no? Eventually disrespecting their gender identity. McNally, 2018, establishes that the gender binary is often focused on physical sex and tends to stereotype each sex. Remember, this one should be here. Okay? A consequence of gender binary is that we might consider someone female or male without taking into account their gender identity, which is known as misgendering. An adequate manner for avoiding misgendering is to use gender-free language. Here you have we might consider. Instead of saying we might consider, what other type of construction could you have used?
It might be considered.
It might be considered, exactly.
No, someone might be considered male or female.
Okay, or someone might be considered male or female, exactly. Yes. All right. But anyway, I would do away with this idea of someone, something, no? Because they are very ambiguous nouns. Very ambiguous. Don't use the word thing, no? Don't use the word something, someone, no. They are not specific enough. Perhaps you can say one, all right, in academic writing. One is considered, might be considered, no? Female or male, and so on and so forth. All right, next.
Is correct consider?
Marina, could you repeat your question?
Is it correct consider?
Is it correct? Correct?
Correct consider?
Yeah, why not?
Instead of considered.
No, it might be considered. No, if I use, it might be considered.
Okay.
If I use a passive construction, but if I use an active voice, people consider somebody. Okay. And by the way, now that this reminds me of another mistake that you make, you don't consider, you consider somebody something, all right? Not as something, people. That's a transfer from Spanish. This is wrong. You regard somebody as something. Okay?
Okay.
For example, he considers me a friend, or he regards me as a friend. But you cannot say he considers me as a friend. No? This has to do with verb patterns. Consider is not followed by as. When I write st in the corrections, the pattern, the verb pattern is wrong. Right? You've got problems with verb patterns sometimes. And this has to do with collocation. So what do you need to do? Check collocations. Are you using a collocation dictionary? All right. You check collocations, please. All right. I don't know. For example, if you write it depends of, which is a typical transfer from Spanish, depende de, right? Well, I would be writing st. The structure is wrong. It depends on something. Detrimental for. No, detrimental, something is detrimental for, no, something is detrimental to your health. Smoking would be detrimental to your health. So I would be writing wrong structure there because the verb part, the collocation is wrong. Detrimental must be followed by to, not by for. Clear? And that is a question of collocation. Next. All right. However, and here, which would be this, what part of the essay would this paragraph be? What does part of the essay does this paragraph represent?
The
counter-argument. This is the counter-argument, right? However, very good. We generally use a linker of concession to introduce the opposing argument. People do not accept gender language without resistance. So instead of saying people do not accept gender language without resistance, what can we say?
Gender language?
Yes.
Couldn't be accepted without resistance, or
gender language is not accepted.
Not accepted.
I would use passive voice here. Is not accepted without resistance. Or does not come without resistance. That is what you can say, which is another collocation, by the way. No? Does not come without resistance. So, Ferguson, 2020, here, no, and the page numbers, points out.
Only the page, we have to write only the page, not from page to page.
Can you hear me, people?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we
can you
cannot
hear me now?
Screen.
Now, yes.
Yes, we can hear.
Yes.
No, I know. Okay, now can you see a screen?
Now, yes.
Yes.
Okay. But I won't be able to see you now, all right? Because my computer died down. The battery ran out. All right, here we go. So, Ferguson points out that some of the arguments adopted by those who refuse to use gender-neutral language are that gender-neutral pronouns are distracting in communication and that gender information is important in communication. What about this? What does that stand for? This should be a square bracket here, square bracket. What do these square brackets stand for? Do you remember what I said about that?
Yes, it's something that the writer adds to the quotation.
Exactly.
That is
Lovely.
Originally in the quotation.
Very good. Can you see that the writer, because of the construction that the writer has chosen, the writer has to change the construction in the quotation. The writer said, Those who refuse to use gender-neutral language, adopted by those who, points out that some of the arguments adopted by those who refuse to use gender-neutral language are that, and here I have it, that noun clause, that this and that gender information is important in communication. That's why the writer needed to add that there. Some of the reasons mentioned in the article related to having a negative attitude towards gender-free language are defending the linguistic status quo, sexism and singerism, and diminishing, and, you see here, diminishing the issue and its proponents. As has been pointed out, opposition to gender-inclusive language might be based on many grounds. And so we can say that this would be what? The counter-argument, right? So the writer introduces the counter-argument through the topic sentence, develops this counter-argument a bit, introduces external voices, right, to support the counter-argument, and then, since this is an argumentative essay, you are supposed to be refuting and rebutting this counter-argument, and so here starts the refutation. Nonetheless, it's necessary to mention, and anticipatory construction here, that all these reasons are nothing more than mere acts of sexism, and that they simply reflect the narrow-minded beliefs of some members of our society. No? This would be the counter-argument, contradicting what has been said before, the weakening this viewpoint, all right, dismissing it as irrelevant. Clear? I'd like to point something out, another mistake that I spotted in compositions. As it has been pointed out, this it, no? The it should be done away with. You can say as pointed out or as has been pointed out. It's the same as saying as mentioned above. As mentioned above, comma. No, as it is mentioned above or it has been mentioned above. It is ungrammatical there. All right?
Okay.
Clear? I can say as has.
I didn't understand about the that between square brackets and brackets. I don't remember that.
That between square brackets, this means that the writer himself, has added this word to the quotation.
Okay.
All right? That word does not exist in the original quotation. This is the word that has been added by the writer.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes, the same happens with and.
And the same happens with and,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Square brackets.
There is a punctuation mistake between because there is one square bracket and another.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I didn't understand that.
No, yes, two square brackets. No, I don't know why the writer here,
with the keyboard.
Exactly, the keyboard, the problem with the keyboard.
Veronica, can you repeat the other example when we don't have to use it as mentioned above, and the other one that you said?
As it has been, no, whenever you use these type of constructions, right, as mentioned above, as observed below, as illustrated, as clearly illustrated below, in any of these constructions containing as, and then the verb, right, it's wrong to say as it is mentioned above. As you can say as is mentioned above, or as mentioned above, or as observed below. You see? No, okay. As it is observed below.
Thank you.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Good. That's a transfer from Spanish as well. You're transferring from Spanish. All right, next. In a nutshell, meaning in a few words, we can claim that the fact that nowadays language tends to be more gender inclusive, tends to be more gender free than it used to be, echoes a cultural improvement towards acceptance and inclusion. Well, come on. So in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, is it formal or informal?
No, it's a bit informal. I would say perhaps all in all, right? On the whole, perhaps, no?
Okay.
Which sounds more informal. Which sounds, this would be a register. I'm not failing the exam because of this, right? But well, but if you use too many informal phrases,
It doesn't help.
No, of course not. No, but I mean, it's very well written. In fact, the essay was very well written. If I find a mistake like this only once, it's okay. Now, if the whole essay is in a way flooded, with informal language, that would be a failure, right? Because you're not writing an academic essay then.
Veronica, would
Yes.
you have some information to prepare for the exam regarding we can read articles to learn the vocabulary as we have been doing?
The topics will be based on the topics we have discussed.
Okay.
So the final exam, I'm not giving you out anything. No, you will be allowed. You can prepare, perhaps work on the vocabulary that we've seen. All the topics we've seen. All right, I will be giving you a thesis statement. I will be giving you myself the thesis statement, and you will have to use that thesis statement. But that thesis statement will be related to one of the topics we have discussed.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So, and then if you want, yes, I will allow you to include citations. If you want, you might be able to use the papers that we have read, include information, but you will have to cite properly, okay?
Okay.
So you can have the papers at hand if you want.
Right.
So, we can claim that the fact that, no, come on. Instead of saying we can claim, and this is too wordy, you see, we can claim that the fact that language tends to be, no?
Perhaps it could be claimed
yes,
that
it could be
use of gender-free language echoes a cultural improvement towards acceptance and inclusion.
It could be claimed then, very good. It could be claimed that, by the way, do not say that's another mistake I spotted, for example. It might be claimed. No, it might be claimed. If you say might, that is too remote, and these are your ideas, and you want to persuade people. So if I say it might be, really, I'm not persuading anybody. Nobody's going to really be to trust what I'm saying if I say might, right? You want to persuade people, so it can be claimed, or it could be claimed, but not might, which sounds too remote. Okay? So it could be claimed that the use of what? The use of
gender-free language.
That the use of gender-free language, exactly. And that's it, echoes. Is the lexical item all right here? Echoes a cultural improvement towards what does the writer mean by echoes?
That it shows.
Yes. But not echoes, no? That's not the right word. This would be, I would write
It's a nice metaphor, I think, or I like it.
It could be claimed that the echoes
they represent, no? Because language is a cultural construction. And
no, I like the idea of cultural improvement towards it. I like but the word echo is the problem here. That not in English, it doesn't really evoke that idea, that semantic idea to me in English. I don't know in Spanish, but in English it does not evoke that idea. Do you follow me?
Okay.
I would be resorting to other metaphors perhaps, but not through the word echo. That the use of gender-free language I don't know what metaphor the writer had in his or her mind.
That it shows, that it reflects.
That it reflects, stands, reflects, mirrors.
Yes.
Perhaps not, right? Mirrors. I don't know, but not echoes. No, no, that's not the right word. In English, perhaps in Spanish, I might get that idea. So, cultural improvement towards acceptance and inclusion. I believe that the use, and here, well, the writer is giving his opinion directly, which is a right, to say, I believe that the use of gender inclusive language is the only way to respect gender identity. While we cannot say that gender neutral language is received without opposition, I am convinced that it is becoming more and more accepted. Needless to say, unless language becomes more gender inclusive, acceptance of diversity will not be achieved. All right, let's work on this one. While we cannot say that gender inclusive language is received without opposition.
Perhaps while it can be said.
While it cannot be said. Yeah, I was trying to avoid the use of said. It cannot be denied. No? While it cannot be denied that gender neutral language is received without opposition, I am convinced that, you see.
And there, it's okay, right?
Yes, this is I. This
yeah.
I is perfect because this is the writer's what? The writer expressing his or her opinion directly. All right? Yes, at the end of an argumentative essay, which is fine. Clear?
Yes.
Is this clear, people, now?
Yes.
Great. So you are supposed to write a new essay, all right, for a fortnight. And so on the mass media, you have to write now on the mass media. You have written on social media, but now on the mass media. By the way, we say the mass media, all right, with a definite article. So pay attention to all this. Try to use nominalizations, gerundial constructions, anticipatory it constructions, or mention the topic. Do away with, with pronouns. If you use pronouns, make sure that the pronouns do have a referent, nearby, and not a referent that cannot be traced back. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's now move on to quotations, all right? I'd like you to open the book. This one, the one about, what's the name of this book? Academic Writing for International Students of English, right? I am in this is unit 1.8, references and quotations. Did you manage to read this? It was there on the...
Yes.
All right, in the schedule. All right, so I'm just reviewing, okay? Remember that when we quote, when we introduce a quotation, we use the author's name. Wait a minute, that I want to write here. Okay. So we use, remember, the author's name. Where is it? Here. We use the author's name, the date of publication, and the page number. No, author's, date of publication, and column and the page number. All right. If we are including a summary or a paraphrasis of what somebody else said, what a scholar said, we just include the author's name and the date of publication, like this. Okay. Now, summaries and quotations are introduced by a reference verb. We use reporting verbs like Smith argues or Janovic claims. Now, claimed, generally speaking, and this is something else I would like to point out, we use these verbs in present tense. We hardly ever use them in past tense. Why? Past tense, no? The use of present tense suggests that the source is recent and valid, which is why you are including it, while the past tense indicates that the source is older and may be out of date. So do not include past tenses. All right? So somebody argues, somebody claims, somebody points out or highlights or, right? There are lots of reporting verbs that you can use. By the way, in this book, Academic Vocabulary in Use, is it called Academic Vocabulary in Use? There is one unit on reporting verbs that can be used, all right? So, let me move on. Here we go, all right. Here we've got the way in which we introduce a quotation, no? For example, we use an introductory phrase, this view is widely shared as Friedman stated, and then the quotation. Inflation is the one form of taxation that can be imposed without legislation. And can you see that here the full stop is where? Where is the full stop here? At the very end, right? Because the citation is at the very end. So instead of, writing the full stop there, it is here at the very end because the citation has been written at the end of a sentence. Clear? Well, this is what I said before. We use ellipses if you have removed parts of a text, or we use square brackets when you need to clarify a point or add an extra word or an extra phrase that is yours and does not belong to the original quotation. Okay? Next. Wait a minute. Okay, here. Well, here you have examples, all right, of a summary, of a quotation, and both. You may use both. Why not? Perhaps you're summarizing a scholar's idea and you're also quoting some parts of the text, right? So you may use a combination of both. Remember et al., no? That generally, instead of naming all the different authors that have written a certain book, you just name the first author, and et al. Stands for all the other authors. All right? Okay. Also, remember how to quote secondary sources. This one. Polenda, 2008, cited in Graham, 2011, page 241. I read Graham, you see? And Polenda has been mentioned by Graham, but I haven't read Polenda. So what reference am I going to include at the end of the paper?
Graham.
Polenda's, Graham's, exactly, because I did not read Polenda, right? I read the secondary source, not the first-hand source. Okay, clear? Okay, and let's practice now. Let's do this exercise. We have to spot here to find an example on this list of a book by one author, a book by one author. So let's see, come on, you tell me. Which of these references refers to a book by one author?
The second one.
The second one, exactly. Very good. The second one. So this is a book. How do I know that it is a book? How do you know?
Because it doesn't have like two titles, like the title of the journal and the title of the article. It only has one.
Yes.
That's
and
a book.
Book titles are always written in italics, remember, right? This is the book title. Book titles are always written in italics, all right? And then we write the year of publication.
Veronica, do we have this file? Have you shared this one? I don't remember.
But this has been taken from a book. This is the Academic Writing, a handbook for international students. I uploaded that last week, remember? Last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay.
So this is a very good, very, very good book. If you want, you can read. I mean, if you have, the problem is that we don't have time to go over everything, people. Unfortunately, our classes have been cut down, all right? But the idea was to work on the whole book. Well, not the whole book, but half of the book for sure. So if you want to go and reread, you will find out lots of things that I have already mentioned anyway. Okay, but to review, this might help as a kind of revision exercise, perhaps. You can practice. Okay, next. This is a book then. Remember, no? The author's surname, the year of publication, the title of the book in italics, the place of publication, and the publishing house. Next. Anyway, remember I made a summary, and I gave you a summary of the most important. A journal article now. A journal article. Come on. Which would be a journal article?
The first one.
First or third? I couldn't get the right pronunciation.
First. I said first.
First. Okay. This one.
Yes.
Yes. This is a journal. Exactly. A journal article. An article has been taken from a journal. Well, okay. The journal article, the title of the article generally goes, in some cases you will find in APA style, you will find it without quotation marks, without single quotation marks. But you can also, you can include it between single quotation marks. That's the title of the what? Of the article. Then the journal, the title of the journal goes in italics. Then the volume, the issue, column, and the page numbers. Clear?
Yes.
Good. Let's work now on the next one. Come on. As a kind of revision exercise. A chapter in an edited book. You know that some books have been edited by editors. These books contain different chapters written by different authors. No, they are not written by the editor. Well, maybe the editor has written an article.
The last one, the last numbers, the page.
Which one? The pages, right? The volume, issue, and then the page numbers.
What is the volume?
The volume of the, because I mean, journal articles, all right? Journals come in volumes.
Ah, okay.
All right?
Yes.
So, and what is 13? Sorry,
the volume. That would be the volume. I'm going to write it down so that it's
and 2? The page?
No. Volume, and 2 is the issue. All right? Clear? You will find that information.
I don't know what is the issue.
You will find this information in the paper. Whenever you read, for example, let me show you one paper. I don't know. One on gender identity. Did I send it to you? Yes, this one. Okay. Can you see here?
Yeah.
That you've got volume. Sometimes they don't have an issue because they don't come in different issues. Right? There are different volumes, so there's no issue. In this case, there is no issue. But no, this is a special issue. But you don't write it down. You write volume and then that's it, without issue. But for example, let's take a look at this one. This one would be, this is the title of the article. And this article, the title would be Gender, Race, and Speech Style Stereotypes, which appears in the journal called Sex Roles in volume 48, issues 7 and 8. All right?
No, I don't know what is issue.
In Spanish, it would be la edición, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, but you will find this information. Yes. You will find this information in the article, people. It's not that you will have, you don't need to invent this information. This information comes with the article. And if not, you will have to try to search for that. If it is a newspaper, I don't know. If it is a journal, an article that has been taken from a journal, you Google it and you will find it. But in general, most of the papers that you have read, most of the papers that I have given you have been taken from research articles. Can you see? Most of them.
I have a stupid question, but I don't want. In the last example, the journal, the name of the article was between inverted commas, right? But there was only one.
Where? In the last example? Which last example?
The activity we were doing.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
So the title of the article would be "The Structure of Age in Search of Barriers to Second Language Acquisition."
Yes. Why there's only one inverted comma? I mean, no, only one mark, one single mark instead of two.
We use single inverted commas.
Right. Okay.
That's why I said single inverted commas, right?
Okay. Sorry.
Yes. No, it's a rule. These are conventions, people. It's not that there is an explanation for that. But generally we use, there are two options. There is a slight variation. There might be some slight variation. Without single inverted commas, just the title like that, without single inverted commas, or with single inverted commas, not double inverted commas.
Okay.
We call these single quotations or double quotations marks. No? Single quotation marks or double quotation marks. Clear?
Yes.
Let's move on to the next one. A chapter in an edited book. A chapter in an edited book. Come on. Which would be the option here? A chapter in an edited book.
The one that it says pledge.
Exactly, this one. Very
because
good.
It has ed.
Yes, exactly. Ed. Now this means editor. So again, the chapter. Can you see that the title of the chapter goes between single quotation marks, and then you write in, and the author's, the editor's surname, the initial, and then the title of the book goes in italics: Second Language Acquisition and the Critical Period Hypothesis. This book was published in London, and it was published by Lawrence Erbol Associates, and you can find this chapter between page 101 and 132. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Good. Next. An authored, undated website. An authored, undated website.
Is it the last one?
No.
Because the one of Miles.
Miles, exactly, because the author is here. No? We know the name of the author, but we do not know when the author wrote that. ND. We don't know the date of publication. And this is what? This is the title of the article that you have read. Huh? And this is the website. It has been taken from this website. This is the title of the article is between single quotation marks. It appears in the Subject Center for Languages, Linguistics and Area Studies, and then the web page. Okay, and then when you access the web page, sometimes you can write this, or sometimes you can say retrieved at the very beginning. Now, here, For example, you can say retrieved from column and the web page, and then between square brackets, access the 1st of May 2013. Clear?
I'm sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yes, you can say before, you know, including the page number, you can write retrieved from, or another option is available at, right? And then column, and you write wh dot, no? The whole web page, and then full stop, accessed, and when on the date in which you access this, because I mean, when is it that you read the article? Now you have to write the date on which you found the article on the internet.
And do we have to write accessed between square brackets?
Yes, it's between square brackets in general. That's why I'm marking some things that are not really this book is very good, but there are some variations. All right, in comparison with the APA style.
And is it 421 the page of the article? I mean,
I don't know. No, I don't know what that
Part
stands for.
the link.
No, that is part of a link. No, that is part of a link. No, that's not the page number. It's part of it.
And how can we write the page number in an article in the website?
We don't have page number.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it depends.
But it depends on the kind of, no, if there is no page number, you don't write any page number. But here you won't write any page number anyway, people. No, when you include an article, no, that has been taken from the web, you just include the title of the article.
And what about the article about Radu? Do you remember about the second essay, Radu?
Which one? Let me see.
That was about the use of new technologies.
Yes.
Radu is the author. And this is an article, a website article.
I can't recall where I took that from. Do you remember the exact name?
Yes.
The title of the article?
Yes, I can.
Give it to me so that I search for that.
Of the new technologies in learning. That's the
what?
Advantage of the new technologies in learning.
And who has it been written by? Technologies in Learning.
Yes, and the Radu Florin and Radu Valentin.
Can you spell that to me, please?
R-A-D-U.
Okay.
So here, because it caught my attention that at the bottom of the page, it has got number 150, 151, 150.
I cannot access this.
So I don't know if we have to.
The advantages.
No. Especially when we use this article to quote.
No, what you should do, I cannot access this right now, but what you should do is just to write the advantages Radu, in that case, as references. What you would be saying is, if the article has got the year of publication.
Yes, everything.
Well, okay, so what you do is the following. You write Radu like this, and the surname, the name, the initial, I don't know, I'm inventing, and then the year of publication to 2020, let's suppose that then between single inverted commas, the title, the advantages of blah, 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 you close single quotation marks, and then retrieved from, and the website, the web page. a web page and
access it.
And access them when you access that, and that's it. Exactly.
Okay.
Right?
No problem.
Next, an anonymous website. An anonymous website. I'm going to erase a little bit, guys.
The last one.
Yes, the last one.
This is the last one, exactly. The last one, because I mean, there's no, this one. We do not know who has written this. All right? Are you there, people?
Yes.
The International Commission on Second Language Acquisition. Again, we don't have the year of publication because it's not mentioned there. And the article that I read, that you have read, is what is second language acquisition? All right? And this is the web page. So here I would say, retrieved from and access here between square brackets. Clear? And the last one, a book by two authors. That would be a book by two authors. People, are you here?
Number 4, the fourth one.
The fourth, exactly, this one, no? Why? We've got Gast and Selinker. And it's a book, Second Language Acquisition and Introductory Course. No? This was published in London by Lawrence Elborn Associates, and in the year 2001. Right? And then this one, what about this one? Larson Hall, 2008, weighing the benefits of studying a foreign language at, what would
Journal.
that be? A journal article, exactly. That's a journal article, perfect. No, I continue here, and the journal is second language. This is the title of the journal, Second Language Research, Volume 24, Issue 1, and these are the page numbers on which you can find the article mentioned before. Clear?
Yes.
Good.
And according to the video, when we have to make a reference to the video, for example, in the same essay, essay number 2, do we have to make the reference like APA, and do we also have to add, I don't know, the time or something else?
No, there's no need. No, there's
only the video as we have to quote the video properly, follow.
And that's it. That's it. Yes. Okay. Follow what I said. Try to follow this book that I included. Remember, yes. I think I have the Harvard referencing handbook. Harvard. I have uploaded this one, haven't I?
Yes.
All right. Yes, you can follow this one. That it has. Sometimes it's not easy to remember all this because, in fact, I do not remember them all. For example, how to, I don't know, cite acts of parliament, but it's good for you to have at hand. All right. I mean, the typical ones, of course, how to cite journals or books or articles, but then there are many. Now here you've got videos and DVDs and films and how to quote from them. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Good.
Okay.
All right. Shall we now work on an error analysis exercise, right? So I'm going to do the following. Since we are really far behind with error analysis, what I'm going to try to do is to record myself explaining to you the answers. Okay, and then you can correct yourself. Would that be okay?
Yes.
All right, so because we are far behind, in fact, with this. So I'm going now, error analysis. I'd like to correct, if I go to your Google Classroom, let me go to Google Classroom, all right? We corrected error analysis on an essay number 1, right?
I think half of it. Or
yes, we didn't finish.
Are you sure we have not finished?
No.
I understood that we have to finish, we alone, error correction 1, 2, and 3.
Um,
Am I right?
Yes, we did finish this one. We did finish this one, right? Talking about, no?
I think that
No.
we
But
need
I thought that you have to
to
go.
contrast this. To contrast this, we have to start there.
Yes.
All right. Well, okay, let me go to that one then. And what I will be doing is the following then. I will be, I can hear someone in the background. Can you mute? The error analysis exercise, we're going to finish number 1 then. And I will be recording the answers to number 2, number 3, and number 4, and the error analysis on essay extracts. This perhaps we can do this today because I think it's very short, but it's very short. Okay, perhaps we can do it today because this has been taken from your essays. All right. Let me finish the other one. What's the name of it? Error analysis. Here, we were here. To contrast, you're right, people. So let me see. To contrast this. Can we say to contrast this? No. We can't. So, what shall we say?
On the contrary.
But on the contrary does not mean in contrast, right? On the contrary, you are contradicting what somebody else said. Be careful with on the contrary, because it does not mean exactly the same thing.
On the other hand,
On the other hand.
Yes, I would say on the other hand, or perhaps no, in contrast, all right? However, but on the other hand would be perfect. So on the other hand, comma, some people may say that social media has benefits on our health. All right? Has benefits
For
our health. Exactly, very good. Has benefits to our health more than for. Has benefits for or to our health. To begin with, it is believed that social media can relieve social isolation and loneliness by opening up new communication pathways. That's all right. Thereby, meaning therefore, these social applications offer the chance to connect with others, to make friends, and to contact people around the world that feel in the same way. Any mistakes?
feel in is not, it's just feel, right?
That feel
The same way.
Exactly. Furthermore, it may seem that these applications might inspire healthy lifestyle changes.
there is a problem with punctuation. Should be in not capital letter. It maybe should it is in capital letter.
Which one is a maybe? Which one should be in capital letters?
After the comma, I think it is in capital letter.
Yes. Well, that is. It shouldn't be capitalized. No, it should be lowercase. So, furthermore, it may seem that these applications might inspire healthy lifestyle changes, but it wouldn't be wrong. So, social media.
Can we make change in the word order of the previous sentence? Around the world, I will write this phrase at the end of the sentence. The same way around the world. Or no? Is it okay? Yeah.
These social applications offer the chance to contact with others, to make friends, and to contact people that feel the same way around the world. This one here, is that what you mean?
I will write this phrase.
Yes, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. Because I mean, this is a relative clause, isn't it? A defining relative clause that contact people that feel the same way. So that should be right next to people.
Yes.
Next, so social media can be used as as a motivational tool to achieve healthy lifestyle goals such as quitting smoking or attending a gym. Well, remember that, no? What's the problem here?
You can't write so.
No, no. So,
write
no.
consequences.
This would be a register, no? I would be writing like register. It's too informal. And by the way, so is not followed by a comma. So I would say therefore, consequently, in consequence, right? As a consequence, as a result. Social media can be used as a motivational tool. Be careful here with the collocation. This is a problem with collocation. As a motivational tool, the preposition is wrong. Hello?
For achieving.
Yeah, for achieving, exactly.
Sorry, shouldn't that be the same paragraph? Should it be one paragraph?
Of course. This goes here, eh? Sorry that I did not say that. That is, yes, you cannot, there's a wrong paragraphing, no? Wrong paragraphing. You cannot split the paragraph. It belongs to the same paragraph.
Okay.
So social media can be used as a motivational tool for achieving healthy lifestyle goals, such as quitting smoking or attending a gym. Announcing a goal via social media and regularly posting about it promotes accountability to others, creating positive reinforcement from friends and stimulating an online social support system. Okay, come on, there are some mistakes here.
Should it be okay to add like a linking word, like also something like that at the beginning of the sentence?
Perhaps here, of course, signposting that this is another idea, right? In addition, now I would say, perhaps to give the idea that this is another another argument on another piece of evidence, announcing a goal via social media and regularly posting about it.
Posting regularly, I will say, wrong order. Wrong word order. Posting regularly. Can you hear me?
No, you cannot separate the verb from the object there. Can you?
So regularly posting, is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay.
You remember that you cannot separate the verb from the object, okay? When you have a direct object there.
I will not say about it. Posting,
No.
promote, no? What's the answer here?
What would you say there?
Creates positive reinforcement.
Wait a minute.
Promotes, creates.
Yes, but let's concentrate on one aspect, people, because if not, it's misleading, okay? It's misleading. Come on. So we are we're focusing on posting. So announcing a goal via social media and regularly posting.
Is it
posting about? Do we post about something?
No.
You talk about
the transitive verb, posting.
Exactly. So is it followed by about?
No.
And we need an object.
All right. So posting it. You see?
Without, okay. Posting it.
That's wrong. It's not a right collocation. It's a transitive verb. It's not a prepositional verb. So regularly posting it, and come on, people, there's a serious mistake here. Something that you should have spotted by now.
Creating, and there shouldn't be creating.
No.
Promote, because promote.
Okay.
Stimulates, like.
Okay. How many ideas do we have in the subject position?
2.
Okay. So can we say promotes?
Promote.
All right, agreement. This is very, 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 very serious in language 4. I can only accept one mistake with agreement. If you have more mistakes with agreement, you're not passing language 4, people. Okay? So make sure that whenever you're writing the essay, check that there's agreement between subject and verbs. It's like saying people is. It's the same thing. Or these ideas. All right? No agreement there. For today, you had to read, remember, number, you had to read agreement. No, there are some exercises on agreement. Or not. Have you read that? Grammar explanation?
No, we haven't. No.
Are you sure? Okay, let me see.
I think yes.
I sent you the schedule, all right? But I take for granted that you're doing this because I am, in a way, through this error analysis exercise, testing all this knowledge that you should acquire through these exercises. Let me see, wait a minute. This is the other one that. What is it, this one? Is it this one or the second one? This one. This. Today is the? Here.
October the 6th.
For September the 22nd, no? These are the exercises.
51 and 52.
Okay, yeah, people, yeah, this one. These exercises, these are a must, Agreement between subject and verb, Agreement between subject and verb, you have and singular and plural from academic writing, and then agreement between subject and verb, you've got two units on agreement from that grammar and vocabulary for CAE and profession. No, from advanced grammar and use. There are two units on agreement, okay? I want you to go back to that for next class, please. So you do the singular or plural from academic writing, a handbook for international students, and agreement between subject and verb, okay, from 1 and 2. Clear?
Okay.
That's a must, okay? You cannot make mistakes with an agreement in language 4. This is something that, should have be acquired right now. So, accountability, regularly posting it promotes the mistakes that I'm marking here, like, for example, mistakes with relative clauses, not defining and not defining relative clauses, mistakes with agreement, mistakes with transitivity. These are mistakes that you cannot make in language 4. Okay? That's why I'm marking these and I'm bringing these error analysis exercises so that we discuss them. You can make mistakes with lexical mistakes. Okay, you made a mistake with a word. This is not the right collocation. Those are language mistakes that are expected in language 4. Okay, but not grammar mistakes like, I don't know, for example, dangling participles. No, that is wrong also. This should have been acquired. This one, for example, when you said creating, announcing a goal via social media and regularly posting it, promote accountability to others, creating positive, okay, and this creating positive reinforcement from friends and stimulating, that is a dangling participle, you see?
Should be create, I think.
Thus creating.
To agree with
thus creating. This is what I said. Thus, as a consequence of this. All right? But you make a transfer from Spanish. This is a serious mistake as well. You see? And I find that mistake in your essays very frequently. So please do pay attention to these gerundial dangling participles that you use all the time. So, the idea, these announcements and these postings promote accountability to others. And as a consequence of that, they create positive reinforcement from friends and they stimulate an online social support system. Clear?
Yes.
Nevertheless, although some of these positive impacts may be true, and something is missing there, right? The comma.
The comma.
Yeah, although some of these positive impacts may be true, they are not enough to counter the negative effects on our health. That's okay. To conclude, there's little use denying the fact that social media affects our health negatively, be it physically, psychologically, or spirituality. Come on.
It's not advisable to use little.
No.
In academic writing.
No, of course
so
not.
Lesser.
What?
Lesser. Small.
There is.
Lesser.
I would say there's no use denying the fact that, no?
Use.
There's no use. There's no use denying the fact that social media affects our health negatively. Be it physically, psychologically, or, and here we have a problem with structural parallelism.
Yes.
Or? Spirituality, no, that's a noun. And here I'm using adverbs.
Spiritually.
Spiritually. But since when we talked about, remember that we corrected last class.
You said that we shouldn't use spirit, like identity
we avoided.
Could we change it to?
Yes.
Be
psychologically or
Sorry,
emotionally.
could we change it to be our physique, our psyche, or our personality?
Yeah, emotionally, I would say. Right? Because we talked about emotions, remember? Instead of talking about soul, because we said that that is related to religion, we changed the word soul, no? For emotions.
For
so
identity.
I would say be it, or identity, yes. So be it physically, psychologically, or emotionally. It can be so dangerous. It can be so dangerous. What does the it refer back to? This it does not refer back to anything. There's a problem with cohesion here. Not it. Come on. Go and review. This, exactly. This, what? The idea that has been mentioned before, all right? Discourse deixis. Discourse deixis. This refers back to the whole idea, to the fact that social media affects our health negatively, be it physically, psychologically, or emotionally. This can be so dangerous that it will affect our persona in a profound manner. In other words, this addiction to our screens, this addiction
to
screens, no, because it's not that they are ours, okay? This addiction to screens can have pretty dire consequences to our health if left unchecked. Okay, come on.
Also, it's not advisable to use pretty.
No, not pretty. Pretty dire.
Or rather.
Can have rather serious consequences, no? Rather serious consequences to? No. That's not a right collocation, no. Consequence means effect, and you have an effect on something, and a consequence on our health if left unchecked. The harmful health effects of social media range from funny, insignificant stuff like FOMO to much more frightening possibilities like altered brain structures and chronic physical pain. Well, come on, comments on this.
First, this thing FOMO hasn't been mentioned before, so it shouldn't be mentioned.
Yes, it was. It was. No, it was mentioned before. It was mentioned.
It was mentioned.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was. Yes, it was mentioned before. I think it was. No.
No.
The acronym was not mentioned before.
I reread the essay looking for where it was mentioned before.
Then if it was not mentioned before, you cannot add any new idea in the conclusion, right? No.
Yes.
Or at least.
And also the word stuff isn't
no, of course not. It's too informal.
To be like insignificant consequences, like.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't know, like.
And not like, such as, no? Because like is also informal. So such as.
Such as, it could be like being more distracted or something like this that was mentioned before.
Exactly. All right. Too much more frightening possibilities. Is there
what word can we use instead of stuff? What word can we use instead of stuff or thing?
Consequences, insignificant consequences, effects.
Effects. Okay.
Collateral effects, I don't know, whatever. All right. Whenever you think of the word thing, you have something in mind, people. The problem is to give it a label, right? To name it. You need to name the thing that you have in mind. So too much more frightening
effects.
Too much more frightening what?
Effects.
Altered brain disorders, perhaps?
Yes.
No, I would say because those would be examples of disorders, no?
Yes.
Disorders such as, again, no? Such as, not like, altered brain structures and chronic physical pain. So social media can be harmful. Social media can be dangerous, and social media can impact our body, mind, and not soul. We said that our body, mind, and
personality.
Or identity.
Identity or personality, going back to what has been mentioned before. There is structural parallelism here, which sounds great at the end of the essay, right? The same structure has been repeated, right? Structural parallelism and repetition. No, social media can be, and social media can impact, no, our body, mind, and soul. So it has a rhetorical effect. Right? I mean, it has been done on purpose as a way of persuading the audience. Clear?
Yes.
Good. So, I'll try to do the following then. Let me read this. These extras have been taken from your compositions. Let me read the first one. Technology has changed the way in which people do simple things. Again, not things. Simple what? Activities, no? Errands, such as shopping or community. No, well, not errands. Activities, I would say, such as shopping.
Sorry, which activity is this one?
This is error analysis on essay extracts.
Okay.
However, education had not been greatly influenced by technology prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was during this emergency teaching situation when teachers and students had to adopt. Okay, mistake there, come on, there's a grammar mistake. And this is also a construction that we have already worked on when we work on theme and rhyme. What type of construction is this?
Present perfect simple. I think has not been.
No, I'm not talking about the tense. I'm talking about this construction. It was during this emergency teaching situation when teachers and students had to adapt.
We should replace when for that.
Exactly, and why? What type of construction would this be?
It is a non clause. referring to the it. No, sorry. Yes, it is. It is an and clause.
It's an anticipatory. Yes, it's an anticipatory.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes, you're right there. It's a cleft sentence, people. This is a cleft sentence. All right. We are bringing into focus the idea of this emergency teaching situation is brought into focus. All right. Do you remember when we talked about theme and rhyme and the information that we bring into focus? So, how would you read this? It was during this emergency teaching situation that teachers and students had to adapt and overcome difficulties with the aid of technology. Some people believe that new technologies, instead of saying some people believe, now it is believed that new technologies facilitate studying because it has benefits to the students regarding flexibility. Come on, what would you say there? Some people believe that new technologies facilitate studying because, and here we have a problem again with agreement. Technologies and then it. No, because they have many benefits.
Yes.
You see, that is a serious mistake. That is very serious in language
Wrong reference.
Agreement. It does not agree with the referent. If I talk about technologies, it's plural, so I need a they, not an it. Okay? I want to make this sure. I want to make this clear to you, all right? That these are mistakes that, I may accept only one mistake with agreement in language form, but not more. That's why I want you to review your essays before handing in carefully, line by line. Proofread the essays line by line. You have to read the essay many times. You have to read the essay to spot grammar mistakes, then to spot mistakes with lexis, then to spot punctuation mistakes, all right? So you need to reread the essay many times before handing it in. The first thing you need to pay attention to is content and coherence, then grammar, then lexis, and then punctuation. Clear?
Yes.
So, technologies facilitate studying because they have many benefits for students, not the students. Again, the use of the definite article, no? The students, which students are you talking about? Here we are making generalizations, right? We're generalizing students in general.
Yeah.
Remember that in Spanish we say los alumnos, but in English, students. So has many benefits for students regarding flexibility. Well, regarding or in terms of flexibility, right? I would say. Nonetheless, opponents maintain that it's not egalitarian, since it is detrimental. What is the it? You see, it is not egalitarian, since it is detrimental. What is that? What does that it refer back to? Do you follow me? I get so many it's, pronouns, these pronouns, you lose track of what the referent is, because many ideas were mentioned before.
So the first it should be changed to the use of technologies.
Exactly. I don't know. Opponents maintain that the use of technology is not egalitarian, since it is, and in that case would be right, because the it is close to the referent, since it is detrimental, not for, to students from a low socioeconomic class who could be deprived of receiving a good education. Deprived of, not deprived from. It is detrimental, and I would say not to students from, to students from, okay. To those, I would say to those students from a low socioeconomic class who could be deprived of receiving a good education, because I have a defining relative clause there, you see? Only to those, this will be detrimental to only those students from a low socioeconomic class, but not to others. You see?
It can say lower socioeconomic class students. Lower socioeconomic class students.
Yeah, from a working class, no? I would say, or low, a lower. A low is okay. Why would lower? From a low socioeconomic class.
Because it's low. And socioeconomic, I will write it together because it's an adjective. Is it?
Yes. There you need a hyphenated. Low socioeconomic class. Socioeconomic with a hyphen in between, no? Socioeconomic, hyphenated.
But do we have to drop the dash?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, anyway, I will be doing this, all right? I will be marking mistakes and recording myself, and I will be sending all these audios to you, all right? So I will be creating an audio for error analysis number 2, number 3, number 4, and for the error analysis on essay extracts. No, for number 4 is the new one, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the one that I uploaded today. That one I will discuss with you next class. Okay, I will create one for number 2, number 3, and the error analysis on essay extracts. And you keep on working on grammar, please. Keep on working on all the grammar topics that I included there in your schedule, because those are the grammar topics that you should be handling by. I mean, that should be handled by a language 4 student. Okay. Any questions?
Okay.
I stop now sharing so that you can see me. Are there any questions?
Do we have to do error analysis on essay extracts on our own?
You do them. Of course, you do them. The idea is for you to do them. I'm going to record myself to give you the answers to them and the explanation for the mistakes, all right? But you have to do this, all right? You need to gain practice, people. The day of exam, you are going to have an error analysis exercise like that. I'm going
How
to give
is
you
the
an
exam going to be?
I said this, you're going to have an essay, all right? You will have an error analysis exercise on an essay, similar to the ones we've been doing, and then you will have to write an essay, an argumentative essay.
But are we going to be like connected to a meeting, or are you going
yes,
to
definitely. You will be doing it synchronically. They are with me. Yes, they are with me.
Okay. And how much time do we have for doing the exam? The writing of the essay, the correction, and everything.
I'm still thinking you will have 3 hours, 3 hours and a half, and then perhaps I'm thinking about this. Perhaps what I'll do is the following: the first day you just write the essay. You do the writing part, and
it's divided into 2 days.
Let me finish. You write the essay. Don't be anxious. You write the essay. If you pass the essay, that means that you are eligible to sit for the oral exam, and you can do the error analysis exercise orally. I give you time to think about it, and then I call upon you, and you explain mistakes to me. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
I still have to see if I do it that way or the other way, because perhaps, it will take too much time to do the 2 things on the same day. Okay? I'd rather you concentrated, by the way, you see, and on real past construction. Grammar, has to be covered. By now, you're leaving the institution, you see? You should know grammar very well. Right?
And that's what the exam is going to be about, writing and the correction, and
yes,
that's it.
That's it. But okay. I'm covering everything in those 2 things, all right? Yes, because the error analysis exercise is complex. That's why I need you to be trained. That's why I'm giving you many error analysis exercises, to get training. You need to get training into this. And that is what you will be doing for the rest of your life, profession. Correcting and correcting and correcting. You need to be able to spot mistakes. If not, you're not teachers, people, you're students.
Yes.
Okay? Teachers should have this ability to spot mistakes, to explain them, and to provide the right options. And not to overcorrect. That's something else. Some of you wrote to me, I spotted like, I don't know, like 40 mistakes or like, well, okay, don't overcorrect. You're not destroying students' compositions. I generally do this with you to show what could be better, how it could be better written, you see? I would have changed this, but if the structure is okay, I'm not correcting the structure. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, people, so see you next...
sorry, Veronica.
Yes.
According to the schedule, we have to do an error analysis in class on November the 3rd.
Is that our last day?
It says November the 3rd, and then it says makeup week.
Ah, yes. Yes, because it's similar to the final exam. Yes.
So that will be like a partial
Exactly.
exam.
Yes. It's a kind of exam. Yes.
It will be like what you are doing with us now. You are going to show us the...
Yes. So I will be doing the following. I will be recording all of them. All right. I will be recording, and perhaps I will add some more practice. One more. Okay. I will send you one more, and I will be recording the answers to all of them. Okay.
And on that day, we will have 3 hours like our regular classes.
Exactly. Yes, on that day, you will be working. I will give you this error analysis exercise. You will have to spot mistakes, and you will be writing. Yes, spotting the mistakes.
So we have...
As if it were the final exam. It's the kind of exercise you will have the day of the final exam.
Okay, so it's like you are going to show us the essay, and we are going to write, and then we're going to send that to you, or we have to explain orally in that moment?
No, you send this to me.
Okay.
Yes, you will be ready as if it were the final exam. I want you to experience what the final exam is going to be like.
Okay.
Okay?
And are we going to like an explanation at the end of the error analysis?
Yes, yes. Then we do it together because we're going to have time. We're going to have time. And I will provide the explanation. And then if you did it wrong, we do another one in the following week for makeup week. During makeup week. All right?
Okay.
Now, some of you people, I don't know if there are people that have not handed in the TPs. There are 4 TPs you need to comply with, plus this error analysis exercise in class. Okay? These
4 TPs with the essay we have to do for next week.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If those TPs are not done, and I mean, they are accepted, I mean, they meet the required standards for language 4, you're not eligible to sit for final exam. I want to make this straight to you, okay? These are things you need to comply with. And apart from that, they should meet the standard, the level expected for language 4. Okay? But there are some people that have not handed them in yet. And they are not attending classes either. I'm a little bit worried about that. So do let them know, please. The problem is that during makeup week, you are going to come and make and write 4 essays that you have not handed in throughout the year. It's impossible. That student won't be sitting for final exam because you will be making the same mistakes in the 4 essays.
Yes.
Okay?
And do we have to write?
Sorry to be straight, but it's this way, people. That's why I mean, we take a course. You attend courses, and and if not, I don't know. You come and sit for final exam without taking any classes, okay? If you knew everything.
And do we have to write a second or third version and hand it in as we are improving?
Just the second version. Okay. In a second version, you should, in language 4, you should be able to have made all the corrections. No, not a third version for language 4. With the second one is enough. Okay? But people, see you then in 2 weeks' time. Practice error analysis. Practice for this in class exercise, okay?
Okay.
Good.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.